And welcome to another episode of the Tar Heels Insider Podcast. I'm your host, Grant Chachere, bringing you all the latest news in regards to your North Carolina Tar Heels. And I'm also the lead beat writer for Tar Heels on SI. I apologize kind of for my voice because right now I'm kind of doing I woke up with some sinus issues. The changing of the seasons in North Carolina, fall is upon us. I mean, of course, fall's already here, technically, but the weather changes are officially in effect. And I got my coffee right here and everything like that. So we should be good. But apologies for if I sound stuffy or I may mispronounce some words here and there. But today is the beginning of a long week for North Carolina football, right? And it's kind of a short week for North Carolina, to be honest with you, because of course they play on Friday night, 7:30, 7:30 Pacific time and 10:30 here. So it'll be a really late game for all you Tar Heel fans out there that live on the East Coast. And it's gonna be a long week because right now, as I'm filming this, is 8:12 in the morning. Belichick and a couple players will speak at 11:30 on the podium, and I would not be shocked if that press conference. I'll be shocked if that press conference is not a bloodbath, because with all the information that came out, with a toxic locker room, you had the social media ban, you had allegedly there was conversations that they're trying to come up with an exit plan for Belichick. Doesn't mean they were firing him, but potentially when that decision had to be made, what can they do? I mean, it has been a wild, for a bye week, that is the loudest bye week I've ever seen. And for a coach who has been known as the no-nonsense coach, the disciplined coach. I mean, the mantra this over the offseason was tough, smart, dependable. And the players on the field really haven't been tough or smart, right? And that's not – I'm not saying they're bad football players. I'm not saying they're bad people, but they haven't been playing up to that mantra that they set for themselves. So you got to judge them off of that. And then the coaching really hasn't been dependable, including Belichick himself. You wanted to be the third NFL team. Then you're banning the Patriot Scouts. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. I mean, I'm not even going to get the Jordan stuff. That's none of my business. But Jordan is a symbolism of all the chaos that's basically surrounding North Carolina football. Matter of fact, I think 30, I'm not sure what the exact number, but 33% of the photos that are taken at the Clemson game were of Jordan. Or Jordan. I apologize. Jordan. So, it's funny because they're trying to look for all the leaks in the program. And the funniest thing about the leaks is that they think it's only a few, like it is in the NFL. There's probably, whenever information gets out of an NFL franchise, there's maybe only a few. When you get to college sports, especially college football, that's tens of people. We're talking about 20, 30, 40, 50 people, and even gets the hundreds. There's leagues everywhere in college sports. It's a bigger organization. So they've had a hard time trying to find those leaks because it could be anybody. It could be their own coaching staff. It could be the players. It could be the support staff. It could be the SID's office. It could be the athletic administration. It could be university. You could be Lee Roberts himself. There's tons of leaks That can happen anywhere in the university. It could be the girlfriend of a player. It could be the mother or father of a player. Like, there's so many people that can be used as sources of in college sports that they're going to have a hard time trying to find a few leaks. They might find one or two, but dog, it's a lot. And it's so bad that even they're trying to blame the Patriots organization for laying out the narrative that Belichick does not know what the hell he's doing at the program, which is really ridiculous because the Patriots are trying to win games because they're trying to make the playoffs for the first time since 2021, and they've only made the playoffs once since Brady retired. Since Brady left for Tampa Bay and ultimately retired, and a lot of those years were under Belichick. And Belichick didn't draft well. He didn't manage the roster well in his last few years in New England, so they're trying to climb their way out of that. And they're on pace to make the playoffs, by the way. Drake May, our North Carolina guy, ironically, is helping lead the Patriots back to the playoffs. If, of course, they got to keep playing like they are playing right now, 4-2 in the year, and I think they can win the division or have a solid chance to. And that's number one. So they're worried about winning. And number two, why would they plant a story to ruin Belichick's reputation when Belichick's doing it himself? Like, come on, man. Come on. So you got all the hoopla, right? You got all that. I mean, it's been an absolutely ridiculous bye week. I mean, I'm glad that week's over. I was trying to cover basketball, but, football always kept coming back. That should have been a very quiet week for football. But no, just have 4 or 5 different distractions. So you got all that going on. So that's going to be the theme of the week is how this team deals with the distractions. Of course, that's going to start today when Belichick takes the podium, and I'll be very shocked if it isn't a bloodbath. Very shocked because with all the information that came out, like he has to answer those questions. And I'm going to have questions for him. You already know AJ is going to have questions for him. You already know the Inside Carolina guys are going to have questions for him. Matter of fact, I think Jeremiah's going to show up at the press conference because, they have an earlier press conference today. Usually they're on Tuesdays and Thursdays. They moved to Mondays at 11:30, so it's like right in between his classes. So he's going to be able to come. And I'm pretty sure he's got a question. I got to make sure he's got the right questions because he's still learning everything. But he's probably going to ask a question. Like, everyone's going to be asking questions about what the hell has been going on. And I certainly have a lot of questions. And not only that, you have to prepare for a game. Cal's a solid team. I know they've lost 2 of their last 3 games. I know they got smacked by San Diego State. Actually, I think they got shut out by San Diego State, if I remember correctly. I think it was like 35-0. And then last week, after they held a decent lead against Duke, had a strong second quarter and then beat them, I think by like 2 touchdowns. And so, however, this is still a decent Cal team. They have a young quarterback. I can't pronounce his name. I'm going to call him Jerron. Because his name is really Polynesian, and I really haven't got a chance to learn how to pronounce it yet. I'll probably will later today. Because I'm going to be going on a Cal podcast later today. I'll send out the details for that as soon as they get released. When of course, when it gets uploaded and everything like that. But they have a really good quarterback. I think Justin Wilcox is a good coach. I think he's just got a bad hand at Cal because Cal's really not. And I know this personally because my dad used to be assistant coach at Cal. Cal's not really a school. They're more about academics than about athletics, and they're not really going to. They're not going to hinder its academic reputation for athletics. Let's just say it that way. And so that's why, really none of the sports have been good, except for maybe like swimming and soccer and sports like that, like the Olympic sports. But they're not gonna go all in on football or basketball or baseball. They're just not. That's not that type of school. But they still get good players, right? KU Olave is one of the best linebackers in the ACC right now. I mean, they got some really, really good players, y'all. Also can't forget um, about Kendrick Raphael, who has 92 carries for 414 yards. Yes, he's averaging 4.5 yards per game, but he's still a solid back. He's also got 4 touchdowns as well. I mean, Tron Grizel, 24 catches for 400 yards and a touchdown. I mean, Jacob DeJesus, he's got 34 catches for 301 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's actually Jerron, I call him JKS. I'm going to call him JKS. I got to learn how to pronounce the name. But JKS, he's actually JKS's favorite target with 24 catches, 400 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Let me actually share this with you so you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. Like, this is his name right here. I cannot pronounce his name. I'll figure it out eventually. It's really, really Polynesian. So, I mean, he's had this all year. I mean, look, I know he's got 7 interceptions, but remember, he's a true freshman. And he also kind of got thrown out there. And he's done well. If you look at the first 3 games of the year, he was balling, right? He had probably had around, 900 yards of passing with 6 touchdowns, only an interception. But the last few weeks, he's been kind of struggling a little bit. I mean, his numbers have gone down. He had a really bad game with San Diego State, where he only completed nearly 45% of his passes for 208 yards, no touchdowns and 2 interceptions. He played better against Boston College, but last week against Duke, he had 245 yards of passing. He had completion percentage 64.5%, but he also threw a touchdown, and he also had 3 interceptions on the game. So he's a solid player as a freshman, but he's also a freshman. So we'll talk more about Cal eventually, but it's like I said, it's the beginning of the long week for North Carolina. Thursday, they'll be flying nearly 3,000 miles towards the Pacific Coast to take on Cal, and the travel itself is a pain, right? You got to travel nearly 3,000 miles to the opposite side of the country. You also dealing with the time change. California is 3 hours ahead of us. So, for example, I'm filming this at 8:23. That game, it's 5:23 there. It's still dusk. And then also when the game's played on Friday, it'll be 7:30 there, but it'll be 10:30 here. So you got the time change, so they got to adjust to that. Cal's a good team. You're playing late at night. Time change is going to be a factor. Justin Wilcox is a good coach. You got a good, solid team right there. It's gonna be tough for North Carolina, and then also you got to deal with the distractions. The Tar Heels have to deal with the distractions with everything that has happened this week. And Cal's deep, and I don't know if I don't trust the offense enough. It doesn't matter who the quarterback is. I don't trust the offense, especially you're going up against a team that, to be honest with you, has been kind of solid defensively. Outside of this, I know San Diego State didn't look good, but San Diego State had more to do with the turnovers than anything else. That had to do with the ineffectiveness of, because look, San Diego State only had 330 yards of total yards. So it had more to do, like 321 to be exact. So it had more to do with Cal not moving the ball down the field and turning the ball over than it did with, Cal's defense beat bad. And Duke really, that was the one game all year where you could say, well, Cal's defense played bad. And it's simply because, Duke's one of the best offenses in the country right now. Darian Mensah has been balling. Nate Shepard has been balling. So they have one of the best offenses in the country. So that's going to happen against, a team like Duke, where they have one of the best offenses in the country. But they've been solid everywhere else. They've been solid in almost every game. So it'd be very interesting to see how UNC's defense can rebound after a terrible performance against Clemson. You can look at the score and say 38-10, but I think everyone who saw that game understood that game could have been much, much worse if Dabo really wanted it to. So we'll see. But I don't like UNC's chances. Right now, they are a double-digit underdog. So things aren't looking good for UNC. I mean, with all the distractions, Thaddeus Dixon's going to be out for a long period of time. So you could be about one of your better defensive players. You got all this chaos around the program. And if the rumors are true that there's favoritism towards Belichick's guys over Mac's guys, that lets me know that there's a division in the locker room. So it'll be very interesting to see how those guys can come together in the face of adversity. Because right now, UNC is a 10.5 point underdog. And if they have another embarrassing showing, it would be very interesting to see what North Carolina does. Very, very interesting. Because they do have the money to fire Belichick. But will they fire Belichick? That's the question. Especially when this is supposed to be a loaded coaching. This is going to be a loaded job. This is going to be a loaded. This is going to be a loaded coaching portal, I guess you could call it, because Penn State fired James Franklin, right? I mean, I know like a lot of programs are firing the coaches. Auburn could become open. Florida could become open. And let's say somebody hires Lane Kiffin from Ole Miss. That job's open. That's a hell of a job right there, right? Florida State could become open. Clemson could open up. We already know Virginia Tech has opened up. I mean, Oklahoma State has opened up. A lot of Power 4 programs, their job, they already have, either they are already fired the coach or they're about to open up if things don't change. South Carolina may open up. You know? Like, think about all of the things that could happen. I mean, it's absolutely insane. It's going to be absolutely insane with all these jobs opening up. I mean, I mean, and here's the thing, too. Georgia Tech could open up, too, because Brett Keys could be a hot name. So there's a lot of jobs. Wisconsin could open up. Speaking of Cal, that job could open up. Like, so UNC is going to be competing with a lot of schools for a job opening. And considering how chaotic it's been, knowing that Bubba Cunningham did not hire the last two coaches, that's, for a lot of coaches, that can be seen as a place to avoid rather than go to, despite all the things that North Carolina has. And really, you could pinpoint that decision last December, when they didn't let Bubba Cunningham do a normal coaching search, so they went with Bill Belichick. And look at where it's gotten them. But anyway, this is going to be wrapping up today's podcast. Once again, I'm your host, Grant Chachere, the lead beat writer for North Carolina Tar Heels on SI. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later.